And we've been talking about this forecast and the weather impacts, and we've seen not only across the country, but right here in Hampton Roads. And in our area, we can still see the remnants of that winter storm in certain parts of the region. Let's bring in Jordie Clark. She is in Williamsburg. You've been there all throughout the morning. Jordie, you've kind of been all over the region the last 2 days, but you've been focusing there. Are you still seeing any of the ice and snow there on the peninsula?
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, I've been everywhere, I think, in the past few days. I've really gotten to, get familiar with Virginia as well, but also the weather patterns here. While I'm just from the Eastern Shore, so we're not too much different, but I think we just saw how this storm impacted everyone so differently and within the same state. I mean, I live in Virginia Beach, and I didn't even wake up to anything at this point. Leaving this morning, it looked like we didn't even get anything yesterday. And then up here, I mean, you could see behind me, it is a winter wonderland out here. But I said this earlier, take away the wonderland because it's icy. And I wanted to show you guys just this stick, just so you can kind of get an idea. The glossy finish on this, it is such thick ice, and it honestly is reminiscent of like a frozen grape that you keep in the freezer. That is what's covering everything from signs to parts of the roads and that slick ice. And I think that's what we've been harping on a lot is the road conditions. Now, just walking down this sidewalk in this plaza that we're at, I have talked about how many times I've almost slipped today. And while, I'm sure fun for kids in here and there, it's, that's why they tell you about putting salt on sidewalks on your steps, because I can imagine hurting yourself just trying to get through certain areas around here. So imagine that ice that you just saw on parts of the road, and that could be a recipe for a disaster. So that's honestly what crews have really been harping on, because I know people down south might be like, why are we still talking about this storm? You're going on and on, because places like up here on the peninsula that are going to have these issues. And if you run into those icy patches, again, if you don't know how to navigate it, especially for drivers who are not accustomed to dealing with this, it's not good, so that's why it's important to be careful, wear the proper footwear as well. I unfortunately wore my rain boots today thinking I was going to be in more mud, so it's a good lesson for myself. I've had to be extra cautious today because these shoes, and these are boots, are still not even grasping onto how slippery this ice is. Like,
Jordan,
it is certainly something to be mindful of. And as we've gone throughout the morning as well, it's getting so much colder. Okay, I mean, starting off earlier, I was okay with the cold. I felt bundled up, but now my face is starting to hurt a little bit. Okay.
Well, speaking of cold, can you hear me, Jordie? Can you hear me? Yeah, speaking of cold, and I have Craig Moeller with us here too. Craig, we were just talking about, that cold temperature in places like Williamsburg that still has snow and ice on the ground. Is it going to get to a temp to where that will go away, or is it still going to be cold enough for it to stick around?
Yeah, it's going to be with us for a little while. We want folks to know that, certainly through the day today and tonight, bitterly cold. But Jordie, I'm interested in your thoughts here. Up in Williamsburg, we had multiple different types of precipitation and changeover, from sleet, which were like the little ice pellets, to freezing rain, to snow, and then kind of back and forth. That creates kind of layers and sheets, that crunchy layer that you're seeing. Can you speak to that, what you're seeing up there as far as like the varying layers of snow or ice? And also, what do you see on the trees? Is there ice on any of the limbs kind of weighting anything down, or does that not look like it's as big a problem there?
Yeah, so certainly I don't even know if the camera can truly grasp the thickness of the ice on the trees. I mean, it's not just like, a little crack. Like, you truly have to try and break it. It is very thick coating. And earlier we were in a parking lot that looked like we were on an ice rink, and we were down near the marina up in James City County, and we saw those different layers. We saw the piles of that thick snow, but then we also saw kind of the under part of the water underneath where the sidewalk is, and then the layer of ice over it. So, I mean, again, it just shows kind of all the icky conditions that the storm left, especially in an area like this. It's while it looks pretty, I'd say, when you look at the trees and stuff, it's certainly something to be mindful of. These sidewalks, there's something serious, I will say.
Yeah, and it's not just the sidewalks, Craig, right? It's the fact that ice can stick onto those tree limbs, and we saw some cases throughout the morning, those limbs falling down to the ground. We had some areas in Smithfield at one point this morning where a tree limb fell onto a power line. That causes the loss of power in certain communities. That ice, though pretty, can have an impact.
And I got to tell you, Jordie, too, as you look up there, you did a great job of showing us the ice on the trees. I would assume any exposed lines, and I think there are some parts of Williamsburg where they're buried, but any lines that are out, as the winds pick up this afternoon and tonight, we may have some of that galloping with the power lines. There could be additional power outages maybe later tonight with the winds increasing. So I think very important, folks, keep all of their devices charged up and ready to go just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordie, we appreciate you. I know you got to get ready for your report at noon, so you guys be safe, and thank you so much for giving us a look in Williamsburg, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for staying with us.
All right, Jordie, we appreciate it. And Craig, some of the questions now, back to this cold temperature, what are we looking at now in the next 24 hours? And then we kind of were hinting at the possibility maybe of another round of snow next week?
Let's get into it. Let's take a look, first of all, at the radar. You can see there are still a few light flurries showing up just off to the northwest of Jordie's location there in Williamsburg. Very light. We're not looking for a bunch of additional precip, but I did want to mention that chance. Now, temperatures, and you were asking about this, Eugene, you can see the temperatures across the area still in the 20s and low 30s, so very cold, and it's not going to change a lot. And even if it does get above freezing, let's say it makes it to 33 or something like that, 34, that's not going to be enough to do much with the ice today. We still have, those areas that are going to be ice covered, and that's going to be an issue as the winds pick up later tonight. Wind chills currently not terribly bad because the winds have been fairly light, but it's feeling like the low 20s right now for Norfolk and Virginia Beach. All right, so tonight, the cold weather advisory, we have to talk about this. From 9 o'clock this evening until 10 a.m. Tuesday, we are having another weather impact alert for the dangerous cold. Wind chills 5 below zero in some places to maybe 10 degrees. Now you might be wondering, okay, what's up with the cold weather advisory? They're issued when we expect, exceptionally cold weather. You say unseasonably cold. I always think it's funny to say unseasonably cold in winter. This isn't the season for cold. I don't know what is, but this is abnormally, kind of freakishly cold air creates an inconvenience to life. Exposure, prolonged exposure to these wind chills, hypothermia, frostbite, very real hazards to human and to animals as well. Remember your pets, they've got to have a warm place to bed down tonight. Bring them inside if you've got outdoor pets. All right, and for Hampton Roads specifically, we issue the cold weather advisory when the feels-like temperatures get to 10 degrees or lower. So here's what it feels like tomorrow morning. Eugene, look at this map. Tappahannock, you can see 6 below, 3 below Petersburg and Richmond. This is 6 a.m. tomorrow. It's going to feel like 7 in Norfolk. I think about when we're coming in tomorrow morning for daybreak, it's going to be just bitterly cold. Even the walk from the car into the building is going to be numbing. As you look at 7 and 8 o'clock, single-digit wind chills, very cold, and it really doesn't warm up much. It will a little bit. During the afternoon, those wind chills, it feels like temperatures will climb up in the lower to mid-20s, but very cold. Now, the cold weather's going to be with us for a while. Take a look at the 10-day outlook. Temperatures by next week warming into the lower to mid-40s. Our normal high is 51, so we're in this below average temperature pattern here for a long time. 8 to 14 day temp outlook below average here in the mid-Atlantic. So that begs the question, could we see more snow next weekend? Eugene, you were asking about that. We're going to jump ahead and show you two of our models, the Euro and the GFS, and take a look at what they have. All right. This is for Friday, 8 o'clock. We're still in pretty good shape. We're going to enjoy some sunshine despite the cold weather. At least it's going to be bright and beautiful for the middle part of the week. But as we get into the weekend, an area of low pressure is forecast to develop off the southeast coast. There you go. Saturday morning, we start to see it forming off the coast of the Carolinas. Now, I'll just point to this here, and I'm selecting a tool so I can put the arrow on the map here, and this area right in here is what I'm talking about. That's an area of low pressure where you see these lines here, they're going to get closer together. That's going to be an area of low pressure that tightens up or strengthens. You see how those lines become more numerous there just off the coast? Saturday evening, look at that, snow for Norfolk. That's what the GFS is saying, and that continues into Sunday as a pretty strong nor'easter. There you're looking at wind and snow. The tides would be maybe pushed a little higher as well. We'll have to see if that works out. Now, that's the GFS. What about the euro? You think the euro looks like that? Let's take a look. Here's the euro. Again, heading into Friday evening. As we look here, you can see again our little area of low pressure forming right here. It's moving around the map here. Hang on a second. I'll select the right tool. Here you go. Right in here again, we're looking for that area of low pressure to develop early Saturday, and some more snow or maybe some rain and mix right at the Outer Banks and here in Hampton Roads again. But you see how it cranks up that nor'easter. Same idea there Saturday night with mix and snow across the region. That would be another potential significant winter storm for portions of the mid-Atlantic up through the northeast U.S. So, yes, there is that chance. I will say with this type of a setup, Eugene, this is a little different than what we were looking at for this past weekend. Every model was pointing to a significant snow event, and we saw that across so much of the country, obviously. In this case, we have to have a low-pressure system that's not even a thing now develop. All right, so that's got to come together Friday into Saturday. Then wherever that low develops and tracks, if it's 50 miles one way or another, that's going to make all the difference in the world between areas getting heavy snow and maybe seeing rain or maybe nothing at all. Lots of questions still with this 6-7 days out. What I will tell you is keep an eye to it. Pay close attention because we do have that chance. I did bump up our snow chances a little bit Saturday into Sunday to 30%. If you stay tuned to 13 News Now and our weather team later today, we may take it up to 40%, or they may take it down a little bit if it looks like the models are going back and forth. We don't want to go crazy with this too early and have to run it back. But I do stress that at least as of now, there's chance, pretty good chance, we could see another significant system into the weekend. But I will also stress there is still time for this to change, and maybe it doesn't come together. It's just not a certain thing at this point. It is something that we will certainly watch.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Better than in Dumb and Dumber, better than Lloyd Christmas's shot with the lovely young lady there in the movie. So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, we'll see. But again, a lot of room for this thing to kind of wiggle and go the other way.
And, just looking at it, too, you were kind of detailing it. My original concern when we were talking about, oh, my goodness, there's another chance for more snow, I'm thinking of the areas like in Mississippi, like in Texas, in those areas that right now have not even fully recovered. Looking at this system, as you're saying, we're now looking at a round 2 for them.
It's much, much more likely to impact the mid-Atlantic through the northeast as a nor'easter. So it's a different system. That previous one, massive amount of moisture drawn in from the Gulf across the deep south with Arctic air in place. This next one is going to rely on that coastal low to develop and throw the moisture back into the cold air here in our area. So plenty for us to watch. And again, you think about areas off to the north, the northeast that were buried with this previous system, they could get buried again. So this system could bring its own issues if it does, in fact, develop the way the models are at least suggesting it could right now. But it will be different from the last one.
All right, Craig, we appreciate you so much breaking all of that down. You and the team of meteorologists we have at 13 News Now, you guys have been phenomenal, working so hard. You always work hard, but you get what I'm saying.
Thank you.
This has been just a long week leading up to this, and we appreciate everything that you've done to make sure our viewers can stay safe, man. Good job.
We need everybody to stay warm tomorrow. Remember, a cold air advisory, and we'll keep you updated on whatever happens for next weekend.